You caught me jamming to the beat again. Good morning and welcome to Keep This in Mind, the daily show. Keep This in Mind, brought to you by SpectHealth.com, the show where you learn how to start things here right so everything else begins to go right for you. That's a pretty good slogan, don't you think? Day 3 of the daily show. So we have now getting into a rhythm, right? I hope to have a better studio background than this in the future. But for those of you that are listening on podcast, doesn't matter what the background is. Day 3, though, let's talk about this because in our health system, day 3 is often the day that's the hardest, right? It's the day where your body's really starting to kick back against trying to install new habits. Excuse me. And in all areas of life, day 3 is really that weird day that a lot of people do fall off. They fall off resolutions. Day 3 after surgery is the day usually you hurt the worst. I mean, it's just, there's something about that third day that is significant in any life transformation journey. And so one of the things that I've learned on this day 3 of doing the daily show is that as I get into a habit or as I get into a slight routine, can I tell you that all of a sudden the fear creeps in, right? What am I going to talk about today? What am I going to talk about tomorrow? You start worrying about things that are not necessarily in your control at the moment, but yet it can paralyze you from taking action. So I want to talk today, though, about how habits aren't what you think. Habits are not what you think. A lot of times we think a habit is something that we do mindlessly, that it's something that we really don't control. It's just we started doing this thing and now we always do this thing and that's just the way we are. And can I tell you that nothing could be further from the truth? Habits, as a matter of fact, are very intentionally designed actions or reactions based upon certain internal factors. For instance, one of the things that I began to do this week as well is setting an alarm. Now, setting an alarm is not necessary for me. I can get to work here at the desk pretty easily without any alarm. But what I did is by setting the alarm for 6:30 a.m., everything in that first 30 minutes that I have done, I've actually done almost identically each of the 3 days. So I get up and the first thing I do is get a drink of water. Then I go to the bathroom, come back, and then I begin to read the newspapers on my trusty iPad. After that, I do some other things, and eventually, within about a 30-minute time frame, I head for the shower, and then I start looking at getting ready for the day. It has almost been identical to the minute over the last 3 days. Why is that? Well, the trigger, the alarm going off, is the thing that put everything else in motion. And so I'm developing a habit. And can I tell you, a habit developed over enough time becomes a routine. For instance, brushing my teeth. I brush my teeth every morning, right before my shower. When I turn the faucet on for the shower to warm up, I grab the toothbrush and start brushing. I've done it for 20 years and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go back and go, I wonder, did I brush my teeth today? Because the routine has been so ingrained in me that it just happens. It happens. Now, one thing about habits though, especially when you're trying to do changing habits are very, very fragile. In fact, a habit that you've developed over a long period of time, say 10 years, 20 years, 5 years, that you're trying to change into a new habit. Because remember, you can't just eliminate a habit, you have to replace a habit. You have to recognize that new habit is super, super fragile until it becomes routine. And it may take years to become routine. If you are the type of person that in the past, maybe in the present, has reached to food as a comfort, then when you are triggered by the uncomfortable, your natural tendency, your natural routine is to go for the food. Even though you know and you've developed a habit to not go for food, that trigger and that response is always there. It's always there. When I have a rough day, can I tell you, yeah, I want to eat a pizza, or I want to eat a bloomin' onion, or it's right there. It's right there on the edge. But I also have developed this other side of things of how to navigate that, how to stop, to challenge, to choose in my life, to where when they'll both show up, and in that moment, I have the opportunity whether to choose the good or the bad. So I want to encourage you today. Listen, the people who say it's 21 days to a habit are fooling themselves. Habits and routines are developed over a much longer period of time. Now, as you know, I believe that nutrition is one area of life where I have a great deal of control. So in developing a nutrition habit, you have the power to choose. You can either choose to wander aimlessly and let your triggers and your old habits kick in, or you can recognize triggers, begin to create a new routine, a new habit loop, and be very intentional with it until that habit loop becomes stronger than the old one. But it doesn't mean the old one's going away. Ask any of my health coach friends, ask any of my clients. There's always there. I had a client just the other day telling me that he would just soon have a fried pork chop over a grilled pork chop, and he has been rocking his program. Why is that? Because we still have those old ingrained habits. They're always there. So don't beat yourself up when an old habit creeps up and starts wanting to take control. Just be intentional. Make sure you have a new habit that you can replace it with, that you can navigate with, and be intentional. Couple of things, couple of housekeeping notes, if you will. That's what they always used to say at conferences that I go to. Housekeeping notes, don't use the bathroom in the middle of the thing because whatever. Couple of things. Today, January the 11th, 2023, my interview with Omar Medrano on the podcast, What If It Did Work, drops. Get on there, man. It is a great conversation between he and I. It's not just me talking like it's just me talking to you. It is a great interview. We dive into health. We dive into faith. We dive into newspapering. We dive into things like Hurricane Katrina and what happened there. There's just so much. We hit a lot of topics, but all with the sense that you can do anything. You have it within you to accomplish great things. Tomorrow, mark your calendars. Be on here at 8:30. I'm going to have my client, Willie Morrison, the best man in my wedding, on as my guest, and we are going to talk about his health journey over the last year. He has lost over 130 pounds in the last year. Yeah, let me repeat that. 130 pounds in less than a year. And we're going to talk about how healthy habits can be sustainable, how changing your mindset and growing into a new mindset, how that looks over the course of 12 months, how you can create a sustainable lifestyle over 12 months, how you can really lean into things that are good for you with the right support, the right coaching, the right system. And he's going to share with you his story over the last 12 months. So I encourage you to be on there. Again, thank you so much. Like, share, comment, whatever platform you're watching this on. Let's do the life together. Let's get our mindset right. And remember, applied knowledge is power. God bless.